I was interested in thinking about Klimt's work, perhaps because it has become so banal, so banalized, that we sort of forget the role it played and the obscenity, the way it was seen as obscene, perverse, grotesque, ugly work while it was happening. And although he was extremely famous and got an enormous amount of well-paid commissions, there was also always a sense of a scandal in relation to the way he was handling the human form, and especially the human form of lovers, the coupling. And so I was thinking a lot about that, and I was thinking about his interest in crafts, his interest in ornaments, and the way he would work, therefore, through repetition, through a great number of different materials, and working tiny elements through repetitions and variations, that in the end, the bodies of the lovers, or the bodies of the people he was making the portraits of, or the writer, or other sort of creatures and beings, were being integrated as ornament into the full spectrum of the work. So I was thinking about Klimt, looking at Klimt, and then I was thinking about examples of work that is of great interest to me today. I was thinking about two artists. First one is Chris Feely, who has a similar take on the human body and has a very political stance on the politics of the African or the black body in Europe, if you like, in relation to his work. And the way he's been thinking about archetypes of coupling, again, and using cartoon representations and African figures to represent an archetypal, garden or Edenic sort of visionary representation. So I thought that was very interesting to me, the idea of the politics, also using porn, using a great number of decorative elements, again in variations, and also when you look at his paintings, really burying or disappearing the human form, that archetypal form, that couple, inside the making of the structures. So it's again very dynamic, very electric. And the third artist is Ellen Gallagher, whose inspiration in relation to ideas of water elements, her long series Watery Ecstatic, I think is very interesting. Also thinking about ornamental ways, or decorative ways of thinking about creatures and love. Again, always in relation to politics, and in her case, the politics of the Middle Passage, in which drowned slaves, especially for her, drowned female pregnant slaves, might now be living in Atlantis, and they are, if you like, the birth or the source of transnational beings. So, big program, but very interesting, exciting work for me to then be thinking about, perhaps where I am, having just finished a very long project called Drift, and therefore really not knowing where I'm going with this work, and then thinking about perhaps units of language as ornaments, decorative ways of slowly moving into the telling of a story, which would be a story that also deals perhaps with my own ways of thinking about sexuality and coupling. So it has no title, but one could call it perhaps The Garden, according to Klimt, of Feely Gallagher. We are passengers, we are passages, 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 we are passengers, we are passengers, we are passages, we are passengers, we are passages, we are passengers, we are passages, we are. We are boned and armoured, and boned and armoured, and boned and armoured, and boned and armoured, and boned and armoured. We are boned and armoured, and boned and armoured, and boned and armoured, and boned and armoured, and boned and. We are milked and milking, and mooning and groped, and grooved and holding. We are milked and milking and mooning and groped and grooved and holding. We are milked and milking and mooning and groped and grooved and holding and holding and holding. We are burning and brimming and rimming and dancing blistering forms. We are burning and brimming and rimming all dancing blistering forms, all dancing blistering forms. Morning and mooring and moving and mooning, all dancing blistering forms. Morning and mooring and moving and mooning, all dancing blistering forms. We are groped and grieving, grinding, humping, clicking, licking, gritting, groped and grieving, grinding, humping, clicking, licking, gritting, grinding, humping, clicking, licking, gritting, all dancing, shimmering forms, all dancing, shimmering forms, all dancing, shimmering forms. Sun comes up, sun goes down, sun comes up, sun goes down. Now each take your place, each take your place, each take your place, and your, and your. Each take your place, each take your place, and your, and your. But in the garden of this garden, but in the garden of this garden, the battles never end. No place for you, no place for you, no place for you, no for me, no for me, no for me, no for you, no for me, no for wrong. Hump monkey pleases and submerges, are ever entwined, robbing, rocking, cocking, despairing, love rage uprooted, are ever entwined, robbing, rocking, cocking, despairing, uprooted, love rage, love rage, love rage. Never grants rest or aligned to source or aligned to the source, never grants rest or aligned to source or aligned to the source, terrifies or pretending to soothe, tattoos with effort while pretending to teach, holds us down while pretending to release. Fall asleep in the sacred forest of her folds. Holy, 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 divine breasts, rich cow dung, divine blue pussy coat for ray illumination. The adorable hard crack of her perfect ass, the adorable hard crack of her perfect ass. Her soft swollen labia cover the outer lips of my mouth to the innermost layers of my life. I eat her out until we drown. The wet glistening gem of her, hardening, the glistening gem of her, hardening, the glistening gem of her, hardening, stone pearl pleasure, bloom rising gold bullet brilliance, glistening gem of her, hardening, amber forest resin catches, fire in the rising gold bullet brilliant, glistening gem of her, hardening, glistening gem of her, hardening, forest resin catches, fire in the clearing, fire in the clearing, fire in the clearing. Here we are passengers, we are passages, all dancing, all hailing love, garden from the roots at the source of each, promise from holy, holy life, death, love steeped in blood and cheap jewelry, from the glistening juices of our unconquered minds, and trails of spit and sand, from collapsed buildings and overgrown car parks, from overrun crowds doomed gaping in the entrails of the deep. Thrown overboard, money, Moloch, love garden, in mind's eye springs up, and here we are, passengers we are, passages, here we are, passengers we are, sacred waters roll out of the waves of his enlarged belly, wash over me, feeling the gong of my sex until I bellow out sweet, surrender, love ecstatic, returns from the inner forms to give birth to a passionate coupling. Green algae-faced survivors, lippy octopi militants in the drowned sky waters, enamored drivers of the circle, rebound, elastic fugitives. Caught in the natural geographies of the battlefield, hairy monster wheel of death, wide-mouthed sex and childbirthing carousel, together we cross each line to the first unending fever, to the splayed lactating origin of the circle, to the exploded wind seeds, the dancing seaweed and coral shapes possible, to the first unending fever, love like silver, spread out open and flowered limbs bringing ecstasy, love like silver, spread out open and flowered limbs bringing ecstasy, love like silver, spread out open and flowered limbs bringing ecstasy, love like silver, spread out open and flowered limb bringing ecstasy, wise, tender, uncoiling, power of love, entwined with all promises and all betrayals. Love garden springs up, and here we are, passengers we are, passages, here we are, passengers we are, love creams, bed gardens at each of our journeys, beds filled with bloods, bone dusting, shine, red goo and feathers, all bursting, all beaming, gold shimmering sheets, and here we are, like drooping tree varietals, like variegated fish sounds, greasy leaf, colourful shaped continents, like clusters of fruits and faces, 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 like flickering rhinestone, lopsided, hard purple, hard purple, hard purple, hard purple, knowledge, letters, 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 undertongue, 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 spurting gold showers, gold, lactating histories, slipping in mouth. Here is forever, here is forever. Everything rides my life, rides my heart, rides my ass, rides my cock, rides my mouth, rides my eyes, rides my thighs, rides my cunt, rides my fire, rides my earth, rides my nipples, rides my bones, rides my blood, pushes itself deep in the walls of the mind from where we stand. Everything is. Still, everything in you starts from here we are in the flickering field of falls of histories. Everything lives to love, everything in you and me. So here we are, passages deboned and disarmed, a perfect surrounding, shimmering envelope in the all-giving, all-surrendering kiss. And we greet you, see us, be with us, and then prepare to disappear, to leave and disappear, to depart, to fade and disappear, to leave and disappear, to depart, to fade and disappear, to leave and disappear, to depart, to fade and disappear, to leave and disappear, to depart, to fade and disappear, to leave and disappear, to depart, to fade and disappear, to love and to live and disappear, to love and to live and disappear, to love, back into the will, back into the will, back into the will, and then prepare to disappear, to leave and